Welcome everyone to lesson 3 and so in this case we're going to be doing an exercise. So you can either come back to this or you can write down the questions of this particular exercise, because I will be raising this particular screen soon. So we want to find the LCM of the following pairs of numbers using prime factors. So we'll start with 30 and 50, and then 60 and 450, and then we'll look at 70 and 90. And then by number 2.1 we're going to find the square root of 120 using prime factors, and by 2.2 we're going to find the square root of 36 using prime factors. So let's dig right in. So we're going to start with 1.1, which is we want to find the prime factors of, or the LCM, sorry, of 30 and 50, and we're going to start with 30 and then 50. So let's draw our grid. If you have a ruler, this might just be a bit easier. So it's 1.1. What you can do, if we're a bit too fast for you, you can just go back and you can just go and pause the video and then just write down the questions. Right, so you've got 30 over here and you've got 50. So it's 30 divided by, once again, what's very important is we start with 2, then we go on to 3, then it's 5, then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. So understanding and memorizing what is the prime factors up till 20, that's very important. So you've got 30 divided by 2 equals 15. Then 15 divided by 2, that doesn't go, so we can now go and divide by 3. So 15 divided by 3. So once again, it's important that you know your timetables. If this is a bit too hard for you, then I suggest that you go back and learn the tables at least up till 12. You need to know that really well. So then that will help. That's a skill that you need. 15 divided by 3, that gives you 5. And then 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. So if you look at the factors of that make up 30, it's 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5, and that kind of makes sense because it's 2 times 3, which is 6, and 6 times 5 is equal to 30. If you look at 50, 50 divided by 2 is equal to 25. Once again, I said we start on top, 25, and then 25 divided by, we can't use 2 or 3, but we can use 5. That's 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. So this one over here is 2 multiplied by 5 squared. So in order for us to get our answer, we're going to say 2, we're going to put them below each other. 2 times 3 times 5, and over here we've got 2 multiplied by 5 squared. So the way this works is that if you have a 2 in your answer, you've got a, for LCM, for the lowest common multiple, your answer is going to be 2, because the highest power for 2 is just as an invisible 1 there, an invisible 1. And then there's a 3 there, so you've got to include the 3. And then here you've got 5 to the power of 2. So you've got to include the highest power. So the way in which we're finding the LCM is by looking at which of the numbers are in each set. So when we talk about a set, here's one set, it's 2 times 3 times 5, and here you've just got 2 times 5 squared. So you have to include each number that's in the set, but you just need to choose the highest one. So here we don't have to say 2 times 2, we can just take one of the 2's. Over here we can just take, there's no 3 here, but we still have to include that 3 so that we can find our LCM. And then over here we include the higher one, so we can't take the 5 to the power, there's an invisible 1 there, but we have to take 5 to the power of 2, so that's why we take that. So then we work that out, it's 2 times 3, which is 6, and it's 6 multiplied by 5 squared is the same as 25. So once again here you need the skill of being able to do multiplication. So it's 25 multiplied by 6. So that gives us 30. 6 times 2 is 12, 13, 14, 15. So that gives us 150. So we're saying that the lowest common multiple in this case is 150. Oftentimes we'll see that when you multiply the two together, in this case 30 times 50, you get the LCM. The other way for us to try to have found it is to say, okay, the multiples of 30 in this case is 30, but they asked us to find it via the prime factor method, but I just want to show you the other method because we're busy with fairly easy numbers here, so it's easy to test to see if we're correct. So you've got 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. All I'm doing is it's the multiples of 3, but all I'm doing is I'm adding a 0 at the end. Similar to 50, it's just the multiples of 5, but all we're doing is we're adding a 0 to the end. So it's 5, 10 with a 0, 15 with a 0. And you can see that the lowest common multiple is 150. So if you remember correctly, this is how you'd find the lowest common multiple in primary school. You'd have your sets of numbers and you'd basically find the lowest common multiple in this particular method, right? Okay, so that's the first sum. I tried to keep these videos to about 10 minutes, so I'm going to do at least one more sum before we move forward. So if you can just make a note of this one. If you didn't get it right, I'd suggest you try to do it over again before you move on to the next sum. Right, we're by the next one, which is 1.2. So we're trying to find the LCM of 60 and 450. Right. So let's start with 60, and it really doesn't matter which way you do the ladder method, whether you with the numbers on this side or on that side, doesn't really matter. Just what's important is by now you guys should know that you start by the lowest prime factor. So in this case 60 divided by 2 equals 30. 30 divided by 2, that equals 15. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. So we know that 60 is equal to 2 squared multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5. Comes to 450. It seems like it's a bit of a bigger number. So 450 divided by 2, once again, if you're not sure, you can basically just do your short division. So 4 divided by 2, that gives you 2, and you're left with 2. 25 divided by 2, that gives us, in fact, 4 divided by 2 is 2. There's nothing left over there, sorry about that, guys. 5 divided by 2 is 4, is 2 as well, but in this case you are, okay, let's start that again. So it's 450 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 equals 2. 5 divided by 2 equals 2, but there's 1 remaining. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So that gives us 225. So 225, we can try 3 and see if 3 works. 225 divided by 3. 2 divided by 3 doesn't go, but 22 divided by 3 gives us 7, and you're left with 1. 15 divided by 3 gives us 5. So okay, we know that works. So that gives us 75. So just to take it a bit slow, 2 divided by 3, that doesn't go, so you can put a dot there. 22 divided by 3 gave us 7, and we had 1 left over, because remember 7 times 3 is 21. 22 minus 21 gives us 1. 15 divided by 3 gives us 5, right? So then it's with our answer, so 450 divided by 2 was 225, divided by 75. In fact, I shouldn't say divided by 75, we should say divided by 3 equals 75. Apologies for that. And then we're going to say 75 divided by 5. So 75 divided by 5. So 7 divided by 5 is 1, and I'm left with 2 there. 25 divided by 5 is equal to 5. So 75 divided by 5 is equal to 15. And we know 15. Once again, instead of 5, we should have used 3. But okay, let's say that we continue on this track. We could divide by 3 there. And we're left with 5. And we divide by 5 and we're left with 1. It's not a train smash that they mixed up, but I prefer for us to work from the lowest to the highest. So we've got 2 multiplied by 3 to the power of 1, 2, multiplied by 5 to the power of 1, 2. Right? So remember I said we want to put them below each other. So over here we've got 2 squared multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5. So in terms of our answer, let's put our answer in this box over here. In terms of our answer, the highest 2 we've got over here is 2 squared. So the answer is going to be 2 squared, which is 4, multiplied by the highest 3 we've got is 2, so that's multiplied by 9. And the highest 5 we've got is squared, which is 25. Right, so it's basically 36 multiplied by 25. That's 36 multiplied by 25. And you guys will see if you work that out, you have to do that calculation. It will give you around 900. Okay, so that's basically the LCM is going to be 900. That is your answer over there. Okay, 36 multiplied by 25. Just to show you guys how we got to that 900, I think it's important that we're able to do that multiplication sum. Right, so if we have a look at 36 times 25, you're basically going to have 3 times 6 times 5 is equal to 30, right? So you're going to put the 3 over there, and then after that you've got 5 times 3, that gives you 15, plus the 3 will give you 18. After that you're going to work with a 2. You're first going to put down your 0, and then it's 2 times 6, which is 12. Put your 1 right on top there, and then 2 times 3 is 6, plus that 1 is 7, and then we just add that up, and that's how we get our 900. Okay, so we're going to try to do the rest of the questions in the next video lesson. Thanks for listening, guys.